Hello and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be finding out just how big my pockets really are. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dominoid and I am here with another piece of retro gaming history. This is 20 years old this year. This is the Neo-Geo Pocket Color. There's a bit of a label on mine, unfortunately, so the box doesn't look brilliant, but you know, it's in decent enough shape, and I'm going to take it out of the box and show you what it is. So this is the Platinum Silver version, the Neo-Geo Pocket Color. It's 20 years old this year. It was August the 6th, 1999 that it was released in Europe. I didn't get one at the time. I have picked this up last year, and I've been meaning to get around to doing a video for it. Haven't got around to it, and well, what better time than now? It's 20 years old this month. So pop out here. Obviously we've got the machine under there. We've also got these instruction manuals, and they come in different colours for different languages, which is quite nice. So this one is in English, and it's in red. Then we've got the black and white one for Germans, because Germany doesn't mess around. We've got the purple one here for what I think is French. We've got blue for Spanish, and we've got green for Italy. It's all very lovely. And this was, well, they're just manuals, aren't they? You're not overly interested in that. You want to see the machine. This is the machine itself. So it's made by SNK. SNK, of course, creators of a lot of very good fighting games and creators of the Neo Geo home and arcade console, which was one of the nicest consoles that was ever created, but also very, very expensive. It's not a hugely technical system. We've got, what have we got? We've got a clock battery and battery compartment on the back. It takes 2 AA batteries there. Cartridges go in a slot on the back here, very much like Game Gear cartridges. They're shaped. And you've got headphones, a DC jack, volume, and you've got the screen itself. You've got just 2 buttons, just the A and B, option, power. And what you also have, and this was unique to this console, can you hear that? It is a lovely little 8-way micro-switched analog joystick. It's a really, really nice joystick. It's just such a satisfying little clicky feel. So we'll turn it on and I'll show you some games for it.
So first of all, let's have a quick look through the system menu itself. So you've got some very standard things here. There's a calendar here. You can't put events in it, so you wouldn't use it as a PDA. You've got world time in case you want to know what time it is in Rio. So there's different areas there. There's an alarm, because everyone uses a console as an alarm. And also, I'm setting an alarm there, but also there's this horoscope thing, which is a bit of a weird selection. I put in a few random dates there to see what would happen. So if I was a Capricorn, then I'd have pretty good money, reasonable health, and some other things I didn't quite catch. But if I changed it so that I was a different star sign, what did I make myself here? I don't know why I did all of that. There we go, I made myself a Leo there. If I was a Leo, money would be awful, but health and romance would be okay, and general would be, yeah. And then you've got a couple of basic settings, which is just whether you want it in English or Japanese. I left it in English because I don't speak Japanese. Here's Fatal Fury First Contact. This is one of the Pocket Fighting series. SNK did a lot of these. Of course, they were known for their fighting games. This one was based on Real Bout Fatal Fury 2, and it also features the first appearance of Leo in any of the Fatal Fury games. It's pretty true to how it is in the arcade. I'm not very good at it. You can see here I'm getting beaten up quite a lot, but I did win that one. It's your standard fighting affair where you punch, you kick, you jump around, you try and be the best beater-upper of all of them. If you like fighting games, then this is almost certainly going to be the best pocket console for you, because it features an awful lot of fighting games, as you would expect from SNK. There aren't just fighting games, but a lot of the games available are fighting games. For example, Samurai Showdown 2. This was also part of the Pocket Fighting series. It retains most of the elements of the Samurai Showdown games, but of course it's switched to a 2D game. It was a conversion from Samurai Showdown 64 Warrior's Rage, and in actual fact features a huge amount of story events and cutscenes from that original game. Of course, it is remodeled as a 2D fighter, but that's to be expected. This wasn't a hugely powerful console, remember. It was more powerful than the Game Boy Color, but it certainly wasn't as powerful as the Game Boy Advance, which came out shortly after. More on that later, though. Oh, look, I died. And here is something that's not a fighting game. It's Puzzle Bobble Mini, which I believe was actually released as Buster Move Pocket in Europe. So I think I have an American copy of the game, or it might have been the other way around. It might have been released as that in North America. But either way, you know the game. It's a very, very, very popular game. It's been copied and cloned and picked apart and stolen by many an Android and iPhone developer. But this is based on Buster Move 2, which at the time was very popular on the PlayStation 1. It features very similar modes as you'd expect. The graphics are cut down a little bit from the version that you got on the PlayStation. You can see there's no real backgrounds to the levels, so it looks a little bit blander than the other versions that we got, but it's still got Bub and Bob in there being cute. It's still got that lovely music and the cutesy sound and those lovely cartoon-style menus that you got in this series. There's a survivor mode, as you might expect, and the puzzle mode, and there's also this versus mode here, which for me was always one of the better versions. It does support the link cable as well, so you can play up to 2 players in the versus mode if you'd rather fight your friends rather than the computer.
Now, what you found with some games as well was, look at PAC-MAN here. Now, of course, that is a lovely 8-way directional joystick. But PAC-MAN, of course, only used a 4-way joystick. And playing games designed for a 4-way joystick with an 8-way joystick was a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you what's in the box in this one, which is quite clever. And this is how they all came. You had a case inside a case for every game, which is a nice little touch. These things were very well protected. So these are kind of like Game Boy plastic cases. But of course, the Game Boy plastic cases were surrounded by cardboard, whereas this is surrounded by a nice hard plastic shell. You've got a very small little manual there, and we've got the game inside. But also, already taken it out, is we have these. Now, these are called cross rings. You can see here it tells you what to do with it. You fit the cross ring all the way onto the unit, so the convex part goes over the right side of the unit, and don't chew it and stuff, it says. So what does that do? Well, let me show you. It is a remarkably simple solution to the issue of 8-way versus 4-way joysticks. So there we go, that is inserted in there, and it gives you a nice pretty red ring around the joystick. But not just that, now you can't go diagonally. So you can only do up, down, left and right. So for games where you need precision 4-way, you've got a way around it. And it's little touches like that that for me make this such a lovely little system.
It's a pretty true to the original rendition of Pac-Man, as you would probably expect, because of course by this point it was a reasonably old game. You can play it in a squashed mode where it features a sort of square rendition of the classic map here, which is perfectly playable. It's exactly the same, it's just slight aspect ratio changes. You can also play in a scrolling mode if you want to make it confusing and stupid and not actually be able to see where any of the ghosts are. I didn't play it in that mode because why would you do that? Anyway, it's Pac-Man. You know Pac-Man, everyone knows Pac-Man. It's a classic and this is a good version of it. And that 4-way joystick restrictor thing does make it very easy to play compared to how it is if you try and play it with the 8-way joystick enabled.
Now sadly this machine lasted less than a year in the UK. So what happened was SNK launched the original Neo-Geo Pocket at around the same time that Nintendo were releasing the Game Boy Color. By the time it got to European shores especially, that console had already taken quite a foothold and people were looking down on the Neo-Geo by being black and white, especially given SNK's reputation for being very high-tech. So they decided to come up with the idea of the colour system, released that. By the time, however, the Color got to launch, Nintendo had already announced the Game Boy Advance was going to be coming, and a lot of people held off for that. The 16-bit internals of this just did not seem particularly powerful in comparison to the 32-bit internals that were coming with the Advance, despite the fact that they were so much more powerful than the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. SNK just couldn't get people to buy these. It was also quite hampered by a lack of third party. Only so many third parties produced games for it. Sega did. Sega produced some very good games, and they did get Taito on board for a few games. I've got Puzzle Bobble Mini here, also known as Bust a Move in this country. But a lot of the games were SNK first-party titles. And the issue with that is that a lot of those were fighting games. So if you weren't a fan of one-on-one 2D fighters, this might not have been the console for you. What was really good was this one by ADK. It's called Crush Roller, and I don't believe it was released on any other system. It was only released in the arcades and on the Neo-Geo Pocket Color. I believe, I might be wrong, and if I am, there'll probably be a message saying, oh, it was released on this, that, and the other, appearing on screen above my head. But if I'm right, then I might just edit this out.
No need to edit anything out, but I was indeed correct. It was only released on the arcade and on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. That's quite a shame, because I thought this was a really nice little game. You can see it's got those sort of classic Neo-Geo style graphics in this incarnation. The arcade release, obviously being a fair bit earlier, was a different graphical style. Looks a little bit like Mr. Do, I suppose. But either way, it's a really nice little original concept that sees you painting streets in a particular colour and squishing monsters that are trying to stop you or just walk in your paint. It's something that you don't see very often, paint in games, not at least until Splatoon came many years later. This was one of the few games from ADK that got any sort of particular amount of success. They did do a lot of work with SNK, so you're most likely to see their games on things like the Neo-Geo or even the Neo-Geo arcade systems. But they did do a few things that you might know. Sky Soldiers was one of theirs, again published by SNK, but they did the Champion Baseball games for Sega, and they also did the Magician Lord and Ninja Combat series for SNK. They didn't do an awful lot after that. They did a couple of games on the PlayStation, but really sort of faded into obscurity, and that's a shame, because this is such a lovely title. I'd be very up for seeing a new version of this, but honestly I don't even know if ADK still exist anymore. No, they don't. I'm looking it up as I'm doing this voiceover, and nope, they were closed, and it looks like they actually got sold to SNK Playmore when they closed in 2003. So they became part of what we now know as just SNK. But yeah, Crush Roller. Have a look at Crush Roller. It's a really good game. If you've got a Neo-Geo Pocket Color or you're getting one, then I recommend checking this game out. It's really good.
So that is the SNK Neo-Geo Pocket Color. Genuinely my favourite portable system of all time. That clicky joystick is just an absolute joy to use. I really, really do feel that this deserved to be more popular than it actually was, but people didn't want what SNK were offering, they did want what Nintendo were offering, and unfortunately that is how business works. But after 20 years, I can honestly say I am glad I have finally managed to get one. And yeah, they're not too expensive. They go for about 50 quid or so, if you're not too worried about being in perfect condition. So not the cheapest of consoles, but certainly worth picking up if you've got a bit of spare cash. And you'll really enjoy it, I think, especially if you like one-on-one fighters, because that's what SNK do really well. So I have been Dominoid. This has been the Neo-Geo Pocket Color. Thank you very much for joining me. As always, please like and subscribe. Add comments down below to say anything you like, even if it's just to call me a bit of a fat baldy, because any comments help me climb the algorithm, and I appreciate that very much. But interaction is good. Ask me a question, give me something to ponder. Why not start a game of cribbage in the comments? Don't do that. I don't know how to play cribbage. I won't join in. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Until next time, thank you very much, and cheers, everybody.